Perfect. So welcome everyone to join this session. I'm pretty excited about that. We often try to have like these type of short courses, and today we are very grateful to have Dr. Oguchukwu Ozotta on this call with us. And as you know, that the short course title is Turning the Data into Personal Growth. And as you can imagine, these days that become like an important topic. Just give a little bit of background and bio about Dr. Ozotta. Um, she as you can imagine, she has like a PhD in petroleum engineering. So she's a DevOps, cloud, and site reliability engineer with the expertise in the cloud infrastructure, data, automation, and operational excellence. She's very passionate and she's very good at it actually about solving the complex problem with a practical, scalable solution and helping organization to improve the efficiency through the technology. So she's also the co-lead of the Women in Data Houston chapter, where she champions learning, collaboration, and of course the community impact in the data and technology space. And as a speaker, she shares insight that empower the professional to innovate, grow, and engineer the effective solution. So she is also the author of the Finisher Code. So Dr. Ozotta, the platform is yours.
All right, thank you, Dr. Moniz, and I'm glad to be here. Well, I before I start, I just wanted to ask you, Moniz, what's the structure? Do you want me to, how many minutes do I have for this? And do we have time for questions as well?
Sure.
Within,
What we try to usually do is just to probably spend like 40 to 45 minutes to the presentation and then the last 15 minutes to the question. And that's a very great point. So please feel free to put your question in the chat. So at the end of the discussion, we can for sure go back to those questions as well.
all right, cool. I will start sharing my screen and well, I'm not sure what you're seeing, but let me move all this away. All right, and make this full screen. Please confirm you can see my screen.
We can see.
All right. Well, I will start. Thank you so much for the invite. And so the topic of this short course is going to be your data, your growth. You already have the things that you're doing for work personally and so many other things you're doing. But me personally, I've been in that shoes that I don't have ways to track what I've been doing. I know for work, usually you have your calendar, everything is blocked, okay, I worked from so time to so time, and I had meetings in certain times, but at the end of the day, I'm not able to say how many hours I used committing to work. So I have a quick question for everyone. If you can type in the chat to say, how many hours did you spend working this week? Just roughly tell, well, I don't mean the hours you used in scrolling through your phone or being on Twitter, being on social media, just actual work, like you're, doing something on your work item. So just give me a rough estimate if you can remember. Oh, 55. Okay. Well, you might have a feeling to say, I feel like it's 20, I feel like it's more, I feel like it's, less. But well, our feelings is not data. We really need to have a way to measure what we have done. We already have this system running. You have your work tracking, what you're doing for work, and you have your fitness app, for instance, tracking what you're doing with your body. Like you go for a walk or you go to the gym, your fitness app is already tracking that, whether through your watch or maybe whether through a smart ring or smartwatch, is already tracking all those processes. So your gym or your fitness app has the track for your fitness, and your work calendar has, a track of your work progress. And maybe every other app that you have or every other app that you use track what they are interested in. But personally, do we have a view of me saying, oh, for work, this is what I did. I don't have visibility on it, but this, we already have data for that. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'll spend a few minutes trying to explain this whole process. Then we will go into demo. Demo means hands-on, like all of us, we are going to try this and have a view of what our calendar looks like and see how we can start categorizing things, adding more things to our calendar, not just putting reminder there and there, like having a one place where we track everything we do personally. So that at the end of the week, you can say, oh, I spent so hours doing work. I spent so hours on social media. I spent so hours on doing anything that has to do with me, family, kids, and every other thing. I will continue on my slide here. All right, so our calendars are forward facing. So I'm planning, like today, if I'm planning for next week, I'm already planning this is meetings I want to attend, this, but we don't always look back to do a review of how our previous week was, how many hours we spent doing certain things, and if we are looking to change that or improve that. So this is being honest with, tracking things you're doing. We don't have to track if you're able to map a timing for it. If I say from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., I want to go for a run, if you have that blocked and you do that consistently every day, you don't have to be updating your calendar. Updating your calendar again is already there. You just have to harness or harvest this data and use it. So what have you done today? Your calendar is full of events. You don't have summaries, you don't have look back, you don't have, view of what you have done. And well, what can you use this for? At the end of the quarter, end of the year, you can look back and see all the things you have done and how many hours you've spent on doing meetings or doing volunteering. And this can also help when you're doing review, like for work, you can be doing review, your personal review with your manager, and you can boldly say, oh, well, this whole year I've spent 20 hours learning new things or maybe learning new skills. And that is already tracked in your calendar. So your calendar, this workflow will track and tell you how many hours you've spent on learning new things. And you can share this with your manager or share this with other people for visibility. Well, 4 ways the gap shows is our calendar or like in our life, we have no visibility into time allocation. We don't know what we did. You can see yourself being busy throughout the week, but you can't tell what you did. You can't tell how many hours you spent for work, how many hours you spent for family, or you spent going to the store. Like we can't tell if we don't have this type of tracking system and no thread awareness. So you can't say, well, my study was 10 hours last week and this week it is 15. You can say, oh yeah, I'm improving with my study time. I'm improving with my learning time. Or, well, it's too much. I think I want to step down a little bit on this and maybe increase my time on volunteering. You can allocate more hours in your future plan to say this. Well, the data already exists. We just need to harvest it. We need to harness and harvest it. So we have other things that track our time separately, like I mentioned. We have work. Our work calendar is already tracking what we are doing for work and meetings, where we have meetings and all that. But we don't have one that is for us, like our personal growth, which will also include things we do for work and things we do for our person, things we do for family, things we do for our growth, and things we do for our dreams as well. Right. So for this workflow, we are going to use Google App Script. A lot of people don't know so much about this. Is there like it's free. We most of us use Google Suite. We are using Gmail, we are using Google Calendar, we are using the Google Sheets and Google Docs and so many other things, but we have never really used this app script. So you can add app script to your file and it will run automatically. You can set up a trigger or a cron job and tell it when to run, and it will run for whatever you want it. So it has a zero new behavior. You're not actually going to learn anything new and anything you're going to be paying for. So this is free if you're already using Gmail. Gmail is free, like Google Suites applications are all free. So you can use this. So I won't be walking you through like an application that you have to pay something extra for. And it's fully automated. So once you set up the script, set up your trigger, give it all the permission, it runs forever or it runs as much as you want it to keep running. All right. So the choice that prevents this failure, the key thing with tracking our calendar, and I'll walk us through how to do this. I'll give us some minutes to look through our calendar and start putting categories into our calendar and adding like categories to the title of the things we have in our calendar. This can make it easier. And don't be worried about meetings that are, okay, what if I have space on your Google account? Well, if you run out of space, the only way the app scripts will fail is if you're running a huge data. So for this application, or for this script automation, we are only looking back. The highest I did this will be for 365 days. So if you're looking back throughout the year, it can run and you can get this information. But if you're going anything that is more than 2, 3 years, it can be pulling a lot of data. And AppScript only runs for 6 minutes. So if it's going through data that will make it run more than 6 minutes, it might fail. But if you set it up and try the first time, if it runs, that means it will keep running. If it runs the first time, you don't even have to be looking back, 365 days. You can be looking back, doing your script to run every week. So if it's running every week, I don't have to go back. But for the first time, you're setting it up, you might want to run and check what you have been doing throughout this year. If you have your calendar already categorized the way I'm going to show you. So yeah, I said it here, looking back 365 days, that's just like the past 1 year. You can go more than that, but I'm not sure about anything that is 3 years and above. And if your calendar is super filled with information, it might fail. So what else? Well, there are other apps that track, that do this type of tracking. There's Togo, there's Clockify, there's also Harvest. Most of this app, what they do is like Toggle. I've used this before for work. What you do is, well, I sign up, like once I log in to start working, I will go in and say, oh, start. I will be working, be doing every other thing that I'm doing, plus work and everything. At the end of the day, then I will stop it's like a timer, or yeah, it's a stop what you stop it. So it will say, oh, so person work from so time to so time. So it's like what contractors use to say, oh, I worked, to prove that they worked for 40 hours in a week. So you have to manually go start it and stop it, and there's other system people use, which is, log in what they did in a sheet to say this week or today, look at the things I did from so time to so time. That could be tedious if you can do this on a calendar. There are other automation tools you can use. There is Zapier, Make. There is, these are no code tools you can use to do this. You can also use cron job, like cron. You can use Python script and set up a cron job on your computer to do this. But the downside of this is your computer has to be live anytime the script is running. So if your computer is off, it might not run at that time that you set the cron job to run. All right, so next here we have this is me just trying to compare Google App Script and other automation tools that you have. So low enough setup, you don't have to, there's no too much things. Most of the things we're going to use are things we already know, and just giving us visibility on what we have already. So where this app scripts for short. Like I mentioned, is no real-time tracking. Now, because I will set up a trigger and say I want to run this every week, you can set up a trigger to run every day if that's what you want. But the question will be, is not automatic. It will only run the time I want it to run, which is at the end of the week, run. But if I'm looking right now and say, what have I done this week? I don't know, unless if I go trigger or run that app script, then it will tell me what I've done so far this week. So it's not real time. I have to, give it that time to run the time it's supposed to run for me to have a view of what I did in the week. But if you want it automatic, if you want it to happen right now, I can run it, then get the information that I need. So calendar is the only source of truth, means it's only pulling information from our calendar. So anything that is not in your calendar, it will not pull that. Only the things in your calendar. If you want to set up your source of truth to be something else, it could be a Google Docs. Then that means you have to go in that Google Docs and put in all that information. If you want it to run on Google Sheets, you have to go in that Google Sheet and put in all the information you want to put in that Google Sheet. I mentioned this earlier that the app script only run for 6 minutes. That's the execution limit. Anything that will make it run longer than that, it might fail, it might break. So it means if it's running, it's passing through a long number of days to pull the information you have in your calendar. All right, so 5 components that we are going to be setting up. Is this similar to for Microsoft Calendar? Well, Microsoft Calendar, there is also something called Power Apps. You can use Power Apps to run this type of automation on Microsoft 365. That's Power Apps, but for Google is AppScript. So the only thing we are going to be setting up is looking at our Google Calendar. Then from our Google Calendar, we'll set up our Google Sheets. Then it's going to, from the Google Sheets, we'll set up our app scripts. Then this script is going to script what we have in the calendar, add them in the sheet. Then from your sheets, you can, change, add visuals or add, charts and start seeing, doing data analysis of whatever your data is like for you. All right, so for weekly email, you can have this as optional to send you email once this script runs. Every day, every week, it runs. At the end, it will send you an email. You can go through your email and see, like, oh yeah, what's the summary for the week? What did I do for this week? All right, so the first rule to this is making sure that the items in your calendar has a tag. So it has a tag, then you give it a title. I will show us this. This is example. So I can have tag and say study. And after study, I can add a title. Oh, I'm studying machine learning for spring 2026. So I know in my calendar is already blocked. So time is study for machine learning for spring. I'll add that for the whole of spring. Then for summer, I can have study for something else. I can add that for deep learning. I will add that. And for fall, I can do that. Then I can block my calendar for work. Just being realistic, like for work, do you work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.? If you don't do work, you have to, make sure you put what you're doing. So being honest that you're putting in the right thing for your calendar. So it gives you the view of what you're actually doing. So that's the first rule, is to make sure we have a tag to this. The sheet structure, we have to follow. Well, I'll give us an example during the demo to follow through the same structure to setting up our sheet, so that once the script runs, it knows where to get all the information it's getting for that. All right. Well, we don't start with charts. So charts is like a visual saying this is maybe plotting a time graph of what we are doing, how many hours we've spent, doing actual things in a week. You don't start from there. We start from the calendar, then the calendar gets the raw data, then you block your calendar and say for 1 hour, this is what I'm doing. So when it pulls it, it reads it at 1 hour and it will add that if you have that consecutively for that week, it will add that and count it as the number of hours you've spent. All right, so we also set up our config tab. Well, I'll show us all the tabs we're going to set up on our Google Sheet. And once we have that set up, we can set up the app script, then we'll start running that. How are we doing with time? Okay, so you set it up once and you never think about it again. So we'll do it today. After this, you can still go back and refine it because we have to make it fast for us to run it today. Then you go back and refine it and keep making your calendar be the true representation of what you spend your time doing in a week, and make sure that you have your categories. Your categories might not be the same with mine. I will show you what mine looks like, and you will spend time. I will give us like 5 minutes to look through our calendar and start, adding categories to the things we have in our Google Sheet. If you don't have anything, you can quickly just add something, maybe one or two things for us to, try this demo. But this is just the pipeline. This is what it looks like. It starts from the calendar, the app script runs, it pulls the data, summaries, and it sends you email. It's as simple as that. And yeah, so we are going to turn our calendar into measurements for our infrastructure, and we can use this type of data to look back on our personal life and see what we are spending our time on and seeing the things that we want to improve our time on. So this first 5 minutes, I will show us my calendar and you start doing something like this because this is hands-on. You do something like this, you start working on your calendar in the next 5 minutes. But in that next 5 minutes, I'm also open for questions. We can be talking while we are setting up our calendar. All right. Exit. So here, this is what my calendar looks like. This is what this week looks. And well, this might not represent what you stand for, but just make sure you start setting up. And if you're looking where your calendar is, if you're using Google, maybe with a show of hands, I'm not saying everybody, who is available to try this so we can know how many people are doing this hands-on for this short course. All right, I only see one person. Okay, two. Right, three. All right, good. So you go to I can show you. You go here to Google, and on your Google, you can see this. You click on it, you see calendar. You just open that. It shows you your calendar. That's all you need. And once you're in here, you can start adding something. And how do you add something? Like this next 1 hour, I can click here, just click on it. You see something, I might say, well, maybe me time, and say maybe eat food or, take a nap. Take a nap. And I can save this. If I want to be taking a nap every day at so time, I can go here, and if I want it to repeat every day, so time to so time, this is what it's going to do. If I want it daily, weekly, on Fridays, you can find what works for you and set up something, and it blocks your calendar for certain things, and you can do that. This card. So the way I have like study, so this is I can check on this edit and see that I have this from every day, 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. And this is going to run until April the 21st, which is the day I'm finishing my classes. So this is like the true thing I'm doing for this class. All right. We have 4 minutes more to look through our calendar and add something to it. And while we are going this, I will add this to the chat. Click on this and make sure you're able to see this. You copy the scripts that we are going to use to set the app script. Click on it and let me know if you can view it. All right, if you can view it, you can click on here. I hope you can still see my screen. You can click on it, select all and copy, or you can come here and click copy raw file. If you copy here, you're copying everything. Or you can also download and be sure this is in your computer. So while we are waiting to, okay, we have 3 more minutes. I'm adding maybe 1 more minute to this. Yeah, Camila, yes, copy raw file. That works. Right, 1 more minute. If you're done, just give a thumbs up. You don't have to fill in your calendar. You could just 1 or 2 things, just to make it ready. Yeah, Choma said she's ready. Mones is ready. And who else? Yeah, Fala is ready. Let me know if you need more time. All right, so next after this, well, if I told you to copy this, we are not pasting it yet. Just hold on to what you copied. Let's go back to this, Google Apps, and go to Sheet. You can click on the blank one. But I already have one, so I can show us what it looks like. So this is what I have already. And to be sure that we follow the same thing that we have on the script, I'll paste the name of the Google Sheet in the chat. Copy the same name and name your Google Sheet that same name. Don't change it. If you change it, also make sure you update the app script. So this is what the app script is named. Then for the first tab on your Google Sheet, I think you see Sheet 1 here. Let's rename this to config, capital C. I'll type it here. Config will be the first. And we have the next one. Next sheet, we name it calendar events raw. Next one, we call it weekly summary. And we have monthly summary, and we have yearly summary. And be sure it has. All right, so we should have how many tab or sheets? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you need these 5 tabs. And on this first one, I will copy the same thing that I have here and paste it in the chat. I'll copy only this. I don't know if it comes like a table. Yeah, it doesn't come like a table, but just copy that and paste it on your, like all this, on this column A, paste it. Here we can type this out is value. Where does this name comes from is calendar name. You can leave it blank if you want, but where this name comes from is going to your calendar. If you go to your calendar, look down here, you will see my calendars and you see your name. Any name that is here, you pick that. If I want to track something else, if you have calendar for something else, you can, create calendar for something else and be tracking whatever you're doing for that. If I turn this off, it doesn't show anything in my calendar because this is what I put in. So this is the only thing I'm tracking. I think this is the default calendar for my account. If you are seeing another name, make sure you copy the same name, and that is what you have in the calendar name value. You have the same name there. So look back days, I know I talked about 365. If you have enough data in your calendar, you can put 365. But if you don't, you can do 7 days. You can do whatever works for you or whatever you want to look back to. But 7 days is the minimum because this trigger will run every week. Then ignore all days event or all day events. You can put this as true. Minimum duration minutes. So this minimum duration minutes is the duration we have on our calendar. So anything that is less than that, you can ignore it. But most of the things I schedule on my calendar is usually 30 minutes, 1 hour and above. So if you click on this tab, it's taking the whole hour, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you want to change that time, you click here to change that time. So this is what that represents. And weekly email enabled. If you wanted to send you weekly email, you can put through here. If not, don't put anything. You can put false. Then you also define when your week starts. Well, I put mine as Monday, so you can put yours as Monday or Sunday, whatever works. And for weekly email, who do you want to receive this email? Usually just put the email on your account. If you know your Gmail account, that is what should go here. All right. How are we doing with time? Does anybody still need more time for this? Let me know. You can also unmute yourself and talk if you need to. Are we good to continue? Fola, Choma, Mones, Camila?
Yes, yes.
All right, good. And you have put all the tabs, all the sheets, the 5 of them.
Yes.
Right, good. So now it's time to do the setup of this app script. So still remain on your Google Sheet. You come to extensions. I hope everyone can see extensions on their Google Sheet. If you can, you will see app scripts. You click on it. If you click on it, you might see function, open, or you see the ginger brackets, you see something inside it, you can select all and you can select it and delete it. Then go to here and copy everything we have here. You can click on the copy raw file come back to your app script and paste it on here. It should be on this code.js. You don't need to do anything here. It is automatic. So paste the file or paste the code. So, well, you can still take your time to review what this code is doing, but is really simple. So this run calendar review system is a function that runs every other function. So the first function is going to get the config, check and looking through the config, all the things we have here, it will pull that out. Sorry, it will pull that out and look at all the things that we have added. The calendar name is getting that from what we put in the config tab. It will collect all that. Then it also looks at the places we ask a question. Do you want it to ignore certain days or ignore certain things? Some place we put through, it will collect all the Boolean values that we have put. Then it will get the tracked calendar events. It's going to get all the information that we have in our calendar. It's going to pull that. Then it will normalize the events. That is more like, putting them in the categories, looking at all the categories we have, and it starts, placing them. And also, yeah, it extract the category here. Also gets the weekly key, checking through all the tabs that we have here. Then it's going to write the weekly summary, it's going to write the monthly, and it's to also write the yearly summary. And once that is done, it will get all the categories, it will get that, then all this function will trigger the run calendar review system. So once you paste it, if you also care, you can also delete every other comment that is on here. But this comment is more to help us understand what the script is doing. In this repo, I also have a README file. If you want to look at this on much later time, you can look through the README and see the explanation. Like, it's more like a document for this short course. You can go back and review it and see all the things that it's doing. So back to the script. So once you're done, make sure you click on save. It will save this. You might still see that your run button here is still grayed out if you haven't saved anything. So if you save it, this button would turn black. And we only have one main function that is going to run, which is the first function is going to pull from the rest of the functions. So make sure it's selected here. That's the only function we have. Then you can click on run. Let me know if this is working for you. Also, quick thing to mention, if I click on run, execution started, it's running. It might prompt you because, yeah, I've run this before. It might prompt you to give it the permission, you approve. You might also get a pop-up. Yes, you can authorize it. Give it the permission to run this, authorize it. You might have a pop-up showing on your window. It might be a Google authorization pop-up. You click on it and approve it to run. All this is running in your account, so you shouldn't be concerned if your data is going somewhere else. So it's all in your account. So once you approve that, the final thing we're going to set up is to add a trigger. So trigger is here. Now that we've run this workflow, it's done. You can, if you want to run it again next week, you can come here and run it again. But do I want to be coming back every week to run this or coming back every day to run this? I don't have to be doing that. So I can set up a trigger. So trigger is like a cron job. You tell it every Monday you run the script, so time. Every Tuesday you run this. If you want it run daily, if you want it weekly, if you want it monthly or yearly, whatever you want, your preference is for trigger, you can set that up here. Is just come out here and you see triggers. So on triggers, I already have a trigger set up for this, but you can add a new trigger. So if you click on new trigger, it will select, see how this system is so smart that we were from here and we created app scripts from here. So it knows that the script that has this app script is this script. So it's just going to interact with this. So now that we are in the trigger, it only knows that this is the function I'm going to run, which is the function that is in this app script. So it will select the function automatically. Then, yeah, this is head. And from the, I would say is time driven. If you're saying from spreadsheets, you can say, okay, maybe when you add something in the spreadsheet, if you detect any new thing in the spreadsheet, it will trigger. If you add any new thing in the calendar, it can trigger it to run. But let's do it time driven because we want to run a certain time. So we want it, is it a week timer? Yeah, we want it to run every week. So which day of the week do you want it to run? You can set that up, select every Monday, Tuesday, whatever works. If you want it to be monthly, yeah, you can set it. Which day of the month do you want it to run? Do you want to be running every first of the month or last day of the month? You set that up. Then you add a time that you want. So if we are in the month and I want it every, let's say every Saturday. So what time do I want it to run on that Saturday? So if you put it this time, it means that every Saturday by this time, this script is going to run and it will send you an email. If you selected yes here, if you selected true here, it's going to send you an email. Oh yeah, that is what I have for trigger. So if you have that trigger and if you've run your script, you should be having something in here. I've done my script and this is, it pulls everything into this calendar. I can also select this whole thing and delete it. If I run the script again, it's going to pull all the information back in there. Let me know if you're seeing the same behavior. I will also delete this. So the only place we have to have something in is just here. And if I go back, well, I'm looking back to 60 days. You can do 90 days. If I go back here to the script, I'm going back to my script here and run this. It will start and it's complete. So back here, boom, it has filled it up again because I ran the script. So you can see your weekly look back and say, this is the total hours I have blocked in my calendar for something. So it will count the number of events, like all the events, it will count them as one. Each day, whatever you have, it will count it as one event. Then for community, so I've only spent 1 hour for something called community. And yes, you can give it authorization again. For the trigger, it will ask you for the same thing. But once you authorize the first time, you don't have to authorize again. It will just keep running every week. So this is how much hour I've spent in this week doing all this. And for the month, it will give you, this is 02, February, March, April. This is what I have. And you can also look for the year and look at this. So this will only show me for 2026. If I've had something in 20, I'm sure if I do 365, it might show me things in my 2025 calendar. But well, if you're interested, you can, start modifying it and adding more things. But looking back in 2025, I might not have categories in my calendar, so I might not be able to get a good view of what I'm looking for in that number of days. Now, the cool thing else you can add is start adding visuals. Well, this might not be a good visual for you, but whatever you want to add as visual for this plot, you can start plotting it. And once you plot it the first time, you don't have to plot it anymore. Anytime you come, you see that the chart is updating once the Excel or the sheet is getting new information. Once it's getting more data, it's updating. So if you go through and look for the month, you see what you're doing in the month, and you can also add for year. Once you start having couple of years or more years, you can start adding and charting your years and seeing how your calendar behavior is changing over the years. Well, I'm open for questions, and if everything is working good for you, you let me know. If not, if you have questions, if you've seen error, you let me know. Let's troubleshoot this together.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, sure.
First, thank you so much for this section. It is really insightful. My first question, do you offer one-on-one consultation or maybe a mentorship? I mean, what's the best way to book time with you?
Good question. Well, I have one-on-one. Right now, I'm still open for free one-on-one consultation. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn and just reach out to me anywhere and we'll connect, and I'll give you a link to my calendar to book a time with me. But if you're looking for anything that is just more than this and you want to talk more, yes, I also offer one-on-one consultation, and that can be found on my calendar. You can go to my website and find that. So my page is on
Can
here.
you share your website
Yeah, I will share this in the
and
chat.
your LinkedIn so that way we can connect with you?
All right, I will also share my LinkedIn.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for asking that. So, if I view my profile, you can come here, copy this, and I'll put this in the chat. So feel free, connect with me, send me a message. I'm open. If you're on my Instagram anywhere, just reach out and let's
Okay.
connect.
My second question, based on your system, like what is the best time of the week or day to schedule like a weekly review? You know, something that you have to do, like if you're trying to plan your sections to stay consistent, what is the best time or day of the week would you recommend?
Well, good. Thank you for asking that. What I do personally is I like to plan my day on Sunday nights, like Sunday evening, and say, oh, look at this week. Well, this might not be a representation of my life in this calendar. I can go look at my work calendar and see this is what I have for work. This is the times I have blocked for business or blocked for meetings. And I will make sure I block those calendar for work or for meetings, and I block it in my personal calendar and saying this is the time I'm doing work, I'm doing meeting work, I'm doing everything that is work. I'll block this on my calendar. Then every other thing that is, free, if there is any other thing I want to do, like, I want a personal time, I want to work on my dream, I want to, find days I want to put that in the week. Then if work meetings and things don't permit, I might want to shift the days I want to go for a run or go to the gym or things like that. You can start modifying the times you want to do this. So to answer your question, I like to plan my day on Sunday. This can change during the week because during the week, there are still things I might forget to add in my calendar. But if I look on Sunday, I'll look the previous week, what did I do? What didn't I add? Oh, I had this meeting that is maybe voluntary meeting and I didn't have it in my calendar. I'll make sure to add this. So you can also do your calendar review every day to track anything that is not in there that you did. So you can track all your work. But anything that becomes repetitive, like work, going for a run, going to the gym, study, taking care of kids, drop off, pick up, anything that is consistent, make sure you have that consistently on your calendar. You don't have to make changes. You can just block it for that time and everything. Any day that is personal time, you, me going to the spa, doing whatever, just block it. So to answer, I do all this on Sunday, but I do a
Yeah.
daily review.
Thank you so much for that. Do I still have time for more questions?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you do.
somebody's about to ask a question. I'll give us some time.
All right, sure. Who else?
Yeah, I do have a very quick question. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. I mean, that I know that because of the time limitation, probably you couldn't have covered as much as you wanted to do, but that was very impressive. My question for you is that I know that all of the things that we are doing is just pretty online. So, if anything happened to our internet, can we still keep that as like an offline thing and check that out and see like what's going on with our calendar, or there is no way to actually do that and take care of it when you're in outage of, like, let's say, internet?
Well, maybe I have to try that. Like if I'm not connected. Well, now that you're saying it, maybe I should put my phone on plane mode, so I don't have any internet, right? I can go to my calendar now and see if I can block something. Um, Let me even know if my calendar can open. Yeah, it's opening. And here, today is okay. Yeah, you can still do something on your calendar and it syncs whenever you have you're connected. Oh no, no, no. I still have Wi-Fi on, so it's still not outage. Let's see. Me save.
I would assume that you can update your calendar, but if you want to run the app script, you cannot because you need an internet to connect to your Google Sheets.
Yeah, so I did this first one when my Wi-Fi was still on, it added, but now that I turned it off, it didn't connect. So I added another thing when I was off. Let's see if that will sync. Yep, that comes in. So if you're offline, yes, you can add things in your calendar. Once you come back online, it syncs. If you have the app on your phone, you can work offline, and once you do, it will sync back. Fola, you have a question?
Hi,
Hi.
Olga. Yes, thank you for the wonderful presentation. First, I want to commend the layout of your calendar. I would never have thought that I should put activities that are not professional on my calendar. But just looking at your calendar now, it seems like an inspiration to just put everything there, just to be able to track things that you do that are not really within the professional settings. Because I do quite a lot of other things outside of just having meetings. I mean, I opened my calendar and I was only seeing the meetings that I put on there for the activities that I have for the week in terms of professional activity. I would never have thought to track school runs and things like that. I just kind of mentally have this in my head. But thank you. And then secondly, I don't know, I'm not able to open the script. I'm able to copy and paste it, but for some reason, Google is not allowing me. It's asking for permission. So I don't know if this is
Um,
something you can assist with.
well, first you're on your personal Gmail, right?
Yes.
Um, well, was any other person successful with this authorizing? Chioma, Camilla, were you guys able to do this?
Yes, I first said Google have not been able to verify, but it later worked out for me.
Okay, so try it again, Fola. Just click on it again. Make sure you save, run the script again. If you ask you for permission, approve. I think you might have to check. Well, I can't remember visualize what the proper prop-up will look like, but you authorize. I think there's a place you check a button and you select that. No, oh, my screen.
Okay, I have tried it a couple of times, but I don't know. Maybe there's something else I need to go do on the settings part of the Google account because it's saying Google hasn't verified this app, and then it doesn't take me anywhere else.
Oh, I see. Well, for now, we can still connect outside this to troubleshoot on this. Well, yeah, we know where we connect, so we can still connect.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so
So if
much.
you have any other question regarding this, please let me know so we can meet and make sure this works for you. If you're really interested in having this, set up for yourself.
Yes, yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Any
All
last
right.
question? Any last kind of comments?
I do have one more question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
So, I use Google for my personal activities and events and tracking and all that. But for work, I use Microsoft. I know we didn't talk about this here. Is there any way that we can connect, put calendars, and make use of the app scripts to track the progress of my work and also something that has to do with my personal activities? Can it be in one place instead of having separate apps to track different things?
Right. So what I would suggest is leave work for work and your personal life to be in your personal things that you have control over, that you can run scripts on. So what I do for anything that is work, I will come here and block the hours I'm working. So if I know for sure that I'll be in the office from so time to so time, I'll block it on my personal calendar that is for work. You might not be able to break it down and say, oh, for work, I have, meeting, I have lunch, I have, networking with friends, anything that is work, you might not be able to break it down. If you can, that would be good. But if you cannot, you can just block certain hours of the day in a week that says work. So you know that it covers everything that is in that other calendar. Then every other thing that is your personal life, you can, add it in your personal calendar. And at the end of the day, it's tracking both things, but it doesn't have the breakdown of what you're doing for work.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's really good. So that way you can separate your personal life and your work life. Thank
Yep.
you.
Mhm. All right, Munes, thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for this very productive. I really like when we are trying to do some hands-on activities. It's just like very interactive. I learn a lot. I hope all the audience also have like the same feeling. And since this meeting is recorded, we are going to also upload that on our AAPG Women Network YouTube channel. So Dr. Ozotta very gracefully, she shared her information on the chat, but at any point you can reach out. So you know that we tagged her on different social media platforms, so you can reach out to her. And if you have any question, please feel free to reach out to us as well. So thank you so much, everyone, from wherever the world that you're joining us, and hopefully we see you in our next sessions.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.